I'm so proud of it. When you go to a classical concert, you look in the program, who's coming, who's playing, which symphony. In my case, they don't know, and I don't tell them. They only know when you go to André and his orchestra, you will have an evening you will never forget. And that is why we travel the world. I want to touch the hearts of the people.
The music world is reeling after the stunning revelations surrounding André Rieu's hidden fortune. Known for his breathtaking performances and timeless compositions, no one expected the emotional bombshell that followed his latest announcement. Behind the grandeur was a secret legacy. A fortune so massive and deeply personal, it left his family in tears. But these weren't just tears of joy. There's more to this story than anyone imagined. But what exactly did Rieu leave behind? And why is it shaking his family to the core? The answer will leave you absolutely speechless. The Waltz King Unstoppable Musical Journey. Born in 1949, André Rieu has become one of the most celebrated and influential figures in the world of classical music. Known worldwide as the Waltz King, Rieu's extraordinary talent as a composer, violinist, and conductor has left an indelible mark on the global music scene. His passion for transforming classical music into an experience that transcends tradition has captivated audiences for decades, making him a household name among classical and contemporary music lovers alike. André Rieu's musical journey began in his hometown of Maastricht, Netherlands, where his love for music was nurtured from an early age. His father, a conductor of the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra, played a significant role in inspiring young André's musical aspirations. Growing up surrounded by orchestral music, it was only natural for him to develop a deep passion for the violin. His early exposure to classical music set the foundation for what would become a remarkable career. To further refine his skills, Rieu attended the Royal Conservatory of Brussels, one of Europe's most prestigious music academies. Under the tutelage of the renowned violinist and professor André Girdler, Rieu's dedication to mastering the violin was unwavering. His relentless commitment to his craft paid off when he received the coveted Premier Prix from the conservatory, a significant milestone that marked the beginning of his professional journey. But Rieu's vision for classical music was far from conventional. While his contemporaries adhered strictly to tradition, he envisioned a more dynamic, spirited approach that would make classical music more relatable and enjoyable for people of all ages and backgrounds. This vision gave birth to the Johann Strauss Orchestra in 1987, a bold and ambitious project that would go on to redefine the classical music landscape. What made the Johann Strauss Orchestra truly unique was its emphasis on joy, celebration, and audience engagement. Unlike traditional orchestras that often maintained a formal, reserved demeanor, Rieu's ensemble embraced a lively and interactive performance style. With Rieu at the helm, the orchestra delivered exhilarating renditions of classical waltzes and other beloved compositions, infusing them with a sense of spontaneity and festivity. One of Rieu's most famous performances is his interpretation of Dmitri Shostakovich's Second Waltz from the Suite for Variety Orchestra. His rendition breathed new life into the piece, earning him the title of Waltz King and cementing his reputation as a master of creating unforgettable musical experiences. Audiences were not just passive listeners, they became part of the performance, clapping, singing, and even dancing along. As the Johann Strauss Orchestra grew, so did its global reach. Rieu's dedication to making classical music accessible led to sold-out concerts worldwide, from Europe to the United States, Asia, and beyond. His concerts were not merely musical events, but grand celebrations of music, culture, and human connection. The energy and passion he brought to the stage made classical music feel vibrant and alive, bridging the gap between traditional and modern audiences. The orchestra's success was not just a personal triumph for Rieu, but a victory for classical music itself. He proved that the genre could be both sophisticated and fun, elite yet inclusive. His ability to make classical compositions feel contemporary and emotionally resonant has attracted a diverse and devoted following. André Rieu's impact on classical music is not just measured by his impressive achievements, but by his ability to touch hearts worldwide. His concerts continue to inspire both longtime classical enthusiasts and those discovering the genre for the first time. Through his unwavering passion and innovative spirit, Rieu has shown that classical music, when presented with heart and soul, can indeed be a universal language. But what secret did Rieu unlock to make classical music both elite and inclusive? Keep watching to find out. The Waltz King's rise to unmatched stardom. Rieu's journey didn't just stop at thrilling audiences with classical waltzes. It evolved into a commercial empire, unlike anything the classical music world had seen before. His charisma, showmanship, and knack for connecting with audiences transformed him from a talented violinist into a global sensation with an empire worth millions. The seeds of André Rieu's grand vision were planted back in 1978 when he formed his first ensemble, the Maastricht Salon Orchestra, in his hometown of Maastricht, Netherlands. It was a modest start, but one that allowed him to experiment with his unique style, making classical music engaging, joyful, and accessible to everyone. But the real turning point came in 1987, when Rieu officially established the Johann Strauss Orchestra. Starting with just 12 members, he spent 6 months rigorously training them before their debut concert on January 1, 1988. Unlike traditional orchestras, this group embraced Rieu's vision of lively, interactive performances, captivating audiences who would typically shy away from classical music. As the orchestra's popularity soared, so did its size. By 2008, it had grown to 43 musicians, and between 2008 and 2020, that number expanded to a staggering 50 to 60 members. It was clear that Rieu's dedication to making classical music accessible had struck a chord with audiences worldwide. However, the moment that truly catapulted Rieu to fame came unexpectedly in 1995 during an international football match in Amsterdam. During halftime, Rieu purchased 60 seconds of live TV airtime to perform Dmitri Shostakovich's second waltz. In a stroke of luck, Ajax scored a goal just before halftime, ensuring that the entire stadium's attention was fixed on Rieu's performance. As he later recalled, "The next week, I sold 200,000 CDs. That electrifying moment transformed Rieu from a talented violinist into a household name. His visibility skyrocketed thanks to frequent TV appearances and successful European tours. By 1996, the media had dubbed him the modern king of waltz, a title that would shape his brand and career for decades. Rieu's success wasn't limited to concert halls. He embraced the power of commercial branding and entertainment to broaden his reach far beyond the traditional classical music audience. His Johann Strauss Orchestra consistently ranked among Billboard's top 25 tours for nearly 20 years, sharing space with global superstars like Bruce Springsteen and Justin Bieber. By 2018, Rieu had secured his place as Billboard's highest-grossing classical artist in box score history, amassing a jaw-dropping $550 million in total earnings. Unlike many classical musicians who rely on government funding or institutional support, Rieu's business thrived on his own terms. "I need $1 million a month just to pay everybody, and without touring, it's even more," he admitted. "I have 110 people on my payroll and another 100 working for me on a freelance basis. So, it's a huge family." Maintaining such an extensive operation required multiple revenue streams. Rieu's empire expanded beyond concerts to include his own recording studio, a production company, an events business, and custom workshops for staging and costumes. His meticulous attention to detail extended to his musicians, who enjoyed benefits far beyond the norm. A professional chef prepared their meals, fitness instructors ensured their well-being, and custom-made Mercedes-Benz buses transported them from city to city. Rieu even provided a private kindergarten for musicians traveling with their children. His unconventional approach to classical music wasn't without criticism. Some classical purists dismissed his performances as overly sentimental or commercial. But Rieu embraced these critiques, insisting that his shows were meant to create a joyful, immersive experience where music, dance, and costumes combined to produce a magical evening. "I'm trying to create a Gesamtkunstwerk, a total work of art," he explained, drawing inspiration from the legendary composer Richard Wagner's concept of blending multiple art forms into one harmonious experience. His vision proved to be a phenomenal success. Unlike traditional orchestras that struggled with funding, Rieu's enterprise remained profitable through ticket sales, DVDs, merchandise, and even streaming platforms. He crafted a brand that blended classical tradition with contemporary entertainment, appealing to audiences worldwide who craved something different. Yet, Rieu's road to success was not without its challenges. In 2008, he faced near bankruptcy after investing heavily in a lavish castle replica stage set, which proved far more expensive than anticipated. However, Rieu's resilience and financial independence allowed him to bounce back, emerging stronger than ever. It was his ability to adapt and innovate that kept him ahead of the industry's financial struggles. While many classical institutions faced declining audiences, André Rieu continued to attract millions with his unique blend of tradition and spectacle. His concerts were not merely performances, they were grand celebrations where audiences felt free to clap, sing, and even dance, something rarely seen in classical venues. By refusing to follow the rigid rules of the classical world, Rieu carved out a space all his own. His empire thrived on joy, emotion, and showmanship, allowing classical music to flourish in a modern world that often seemed too fast-paced for such timeless art. But how did André Rieu build an empire and fortune by breaking the classical mold? Keep watching to discover. André Rieu's castle, a symbol of musical success and childhood dreams. André Rieu's journey to transform classical music into an accessible, joyful experience for everyone is mirrored in the astounding success of his financial empire. His remarkable achievements go beyond concert halls and waltz melodies. They reach deep into his personal life, exemplified by a purchase that symbolizes both his childhood dreams and his extraordinary success. That purchase? A majestic 16th-century castle in Maastricht, the heart of his musical empire. Rieu's castle is not just a luxury home, it's the crown jewel of his assets. Nestled in the historic heart of Maastricht, this castle, known as Huys de Tor House of the Small Turrets, stands as a stunning symbol of his rise to global fame. However, this magnificent piece of history wasn't part of Rieu's original plans. While on a holiday in the south of France in 1999, Rieu's accountant called to inform them that the front side of the castle was for sale. Initially, the Rieus weren't actively seeking a new property, but when opportunity knocks, one can't ignore it. "We weren't really looking for it, but then again, the chance doesn't come along very often," recalled Marjorie Rieu, André's wife. What made the purchase even more remarkable is André's personal connection to the property. As a young boy, he had taken piano lessons in the very same building, a space he once found dark, damp, and somewhat depressing. His feelings about the castle at the time weren't warm, but his fascination with castles started early, sparked by his love for Tintin comics. In one of the books, Tintin and Professor Calculus sell an invention and buy a castle, and young André remembers thinking, "I wanted to live there." This childhood dream came to life on September 11th, 1999, when he bought the castle for €1.45 million, about $1.9 million. At the time of purchase, the castle was split into several sections. As André and Marjorie continued their efforts to restore it, they worked to reunite the entire structure. The castle's origins are deeply rooted in history. The kitchen, its oldest part, dates back to 1452, and much of the structure was built in 1526. Rieu's connection to the castle runs even deeper, with legends suggesting that the famous French musketeer, D'Artagnan, had his last breakfast there before he died during the 1673 siege of Maastricht. The restoration of the castle wasn't carried out by professional designers, but was mainly André's vision. He brightened up dark rooms, added gold leaf accents, and furnished the space with unique pieces he discovered while traveling across Europe. His passion for beauty and nature shone through when he created a French-style orangery filled with tropical birds and plants. He fondly describes his purchase, saying, "Other people buy a Ferrari, but I wanted a greenhouse filled with butterflies, and that's what I have." The castle's value continues to grow, not just because of its historical charm, but also due to its location within Rieu's broader real estate portfolio. In Maastricht, André owns 34 properties, including 6 buildings near the castle and several land parcels. Maintaining such an iconic structure comes at a cost, though. The soft stone of the castle requires constant renovation and upkeep. "No sooner have I repaired one half than I need to start again repairing the other half," Rieu noted. Major repairs were made in 2015 when extensive roof and wall damage was fixed as the stone structure eroded over time. Interestingly, although Rieu doesn't live in the castle, preferring a 150-year-old house on a neighboring street, the castle remains the centerpiece of his assets. It is, in a way, a magnificent representation of his musical empire, a symbol of his childhood dreams realized and his musical success. The castle, over time, has become part of his public identity. He even admits, "I use the castle to promote my concerts." For those outside the classical music world, the idea of the king of the waltz living in his very own castle is captivating. And with his remarkable violin collection, including prized Stradivarius instruments, it's no wonder the property continues to fascinate and attract media attention. The castle is more than just a personal dream for Rieu. It is an enduring symbol of his musical legacy, embodying both his childhood aspirations and his unparalleled achievements in the classical music world. But what makes André Rieu's castle and priceless violin collection the ultimate symbol of his musical legacy? Keep watching to find out. André Rieu's priceless violins, the heart of his musical empire. André Rieu's immense fortune isn't just built on concert tours or the grand castle he owns. Beneath his chin, hidden in plain sight, lie some of his most valuable assets, his rare and priceless violins. These exceptional string instruments are not only key tools for creating the magical music that has made him a household name, they also represent an investment that has seen their value grow over the years, becoming multi-million-dollar treasures. One of the most iconic instruments in Rieu's collection is a 1667 Stradivarius violin, one of the earliest works of the legendary Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Crafted at a time when Stradivari was still perfecting his craft, this violin carries with it a deep connection to Rieu's own journey. "I used to play on the 1667 Stradivarius, an instrument the man made during his engagement to his future wife," Rieu once shared. The same love he felt for her, he somehow put in that instrument. It's this deep emotional connection that has made Rieu's bond with the violin more than just a professional relationship. It's personal. Acquiring such a rare and valuable instrument is no easy feat, especially considering the close-knit world of violin experts and collectors. Rieu recalls how difficult it was to even find one, describing how the pursuit of a Stradivarius is a highly exclusive endeavor. You really need to break into the violin world. It's a small world. Only 3 or 4 people decide over the whole world, he noted. Once word got out that Rieu was on the hunt for a Stradivarius, the offers flooded in. They came like flies to honey, he said with a smile. Musicians and collectors from across the globe sought to get their instruments into his hands, eager for the virtuoso to play them. As Rieu's success grew, so did his collection. He eventually upgraded to an even rarer Stradivarius, one from 1732. With this new addition, the media sometimes reported different dates, as the violinist switched between the 2 iconic instruments. But whether it was the 1667 or the 1732, both violins are part of Rieu's story of musical greatness. The value of a Stradivarius is jaw-dropping, with the instruments often costing several million euros. The most expensive Stradivarius violin ever sold, the Lady Blunt Stradivarius, fetched a staggering 15 million euros. The value of these instruments goes far beyond their breathtaking craftsmanship. Rieu, with his usual eloquence, puts it into a historical context that makes them even more valuable. When I do a little bit of math, I notice that the trees for the wood of the Stradivarius instruments had to be put in the soil during Columbus's discovery of the New World, he mused. This sense of history, of timelessness, makes these instruments far more than just expensive tools. It makes them a living piece of history, continuing to captivate musicians and collectors alike. For Rieu, the bond he shares with his violins is deeply emotional. He often compares a violin to a woman, remarking, "A violin is really like a woman. She is unique. There are many women, but only one woman you love. With a violin, it is the same." This emotional attachment to his instruments shows that, for Rieu, they are more than just investments. They are beloved companions that accompany him on his musical journey. But owning such priceless violins also comes with unique challenges, particularly when it comes to protecting them. Moving millions of dollars worth of instruments across continents for performances is no small task, and the financial burden of ensuring their safety is immense. The instruments require special insurance coverage, and Rieu once humorously pointed out the imbalance in his priorities. "My violin is insured, but my hands aren't." Even though his Stradivarius is worth more than many homes, it is the instrument itself, its precious wood and historical significance, that Rieu truly prioritizes. The security measures surrounding his violins are equally meticulous. The Stradivarius often travels with its own bodyguard and even gets first-class treatment on flights to ensure the instrument stays safe and at the right temperature during international travel. For Rieu, nothing is too much when it comes to protecting these cherished possessions. His commitment to these instruments is so profound that in 2021, when the COVID-19 pandemic left his orchestra in financial turmoil, he made a bold statement that caught many by surprise. "I would sell my Stradivarius to support my orchestra," he said. "It's my life's work, you see. Then I'll throw away my life that I've built, and them along with me. We do it together." His willingness to part with one of his most valuable possessions to ensure the survival of his orchestra shows just how deeply Rieu values the relationships he has built over the years with his music and those who help bring it to life. Luckily, The pandemic didn't require Rieu to take such drastic measures, and performances resumed before he had to consider selling his prized violin. But the sentiment behind his words highlights the genuine love and dedication he feels for the instruments that have played such an essential role in his journey from a small-town violinist in Maastricht to the king of the waltz, adored by millions around the world. But what do you think about how André Rieu built his fortune through his violin? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe.